Now we have a massive influx of new brands coming to the UK in the UK EV market. Brands such as BYD, Omoda, JQ, Fisker. Well, KGM are also throwing themselves into that mix with this, the Torres EVX. Now, despite its rebranding from SsangYong to KGM, the company has been a well-known producer of SUVs for over 20 years. The company is striving to build its worldwide presence of bringing people like you long-lasting SUVs. Now, the first one that KGM are bringing to us is the Torres, a 4.7 metre long family SUV. It's meant to sit between their current models Corando and their 7-seat Rexton. But that's not all. KGM are introducing this, the Torres EVX, and it is their first fully electric powered SUV under the KGM brand. Now, the Torres EVX is powered by a front mounted electric motor and a 74.3 kilowatt hour blade battery setup from BYD, which BYD are very well known with their recently launched Seal and Atto 3, which they have been getting very, very close, or if not on the button, with their claim for their range, which is a good shout for KGM pairing that in the Torres EVX. Now, with this complete EV powertrain setup from BYD, KGM are aiming to challenge rivals. So for now, let's take a look around the outside and get on with the review. So the Torres EVX can be distinguished from its petrol sibling by its futuristic design front end, a cleaner front bumper compared to its petrol sibling, this unique and distinctive light up grille design, but still that off-roady look that we got with the ICE Torres, such as the big chunky headlights down here, the chunky bits of styling. It's still got the grab handles on the bonnet, the effect of tie downs, but like I said in the petrol review, do not tie anything to those because they are just plastic and for aesthetic only. But still, a really good looking side profile design with this indent in the door that follows round into the rear quarter, your plastic cladding around your wheel arches, these 20-inch flat face diamond cut alloy wheels that are only available on the EVX model to help with that streamlinedness. The same mirrors that you get with the petrol Torres, chrome detailing to split up the colour, and then again this Defender looking blade in the rear quarter, which, as you might have seen in my petrol review, it does impede the rear visibility, which when we get it out on the road I'll show that to you. And then around the rear on the Torres EVX, you've got the large script across this hump that KGM have gone for in terms of design. That's to replicate a spare wheel that used to get on old off-roaders. Top level spoiler with a top level brake light, full LED tail lights. You still get this off-road vehicle type cladding to the bottom. KGM script is the only bit that you'll find on the car. The rest of it is the SsangYong logo with the wing type effect again, but in the electric EVX model the door handle is on the side. We have entrance to the massive boot, which is super practical thanks to the blade slimline battery from BYD. It does not compromise any interior space. You still get over 703 litres of space back here, with the seats down over 1600 litres. You still get the nice storage bins at the cubbies at the side, which have got the electric. You've got your interior light. In this EVX model we even have a little switch here for if you're sat in the boot you can open it from the inside. I like that feature. I get to play hide and seek with my kids. Underneath we have, same again, very decent storage, which is good for your charging cable. So that's enough of the outside of the Torres EVX. Let's head inside and see what the interior is like. The other good thing is the space and comfort that we get in the front is carried on into the rear for rear passengers. I have lots of leg room, plenty of space under the seats for feet, plenty of headroom. I mean, there is tons of space there. But the continuation of the interior, such as the materials used and the stitching in the seats, the design follows on from the front. We do have a couple of mat pockets on the back of each seat, with a little pocket at the front there for a phone. You got this on the back of the headrest for a tablet. For babies back here, or like myself, gingers that are sensitive to the sun, we have these handy little blinds, which adds to the shadiness from the tinted rear windows. But it's light and airy back here. These windows go all the way down. On the outer seats we have 2-stage heated seats in the K40 spec of the Torres EVX. On either outer seat we have ISOFIX points, so it's good for your children's car seats. We have a couple of air vents, so you obviously be comfortable and cool back here. We have 2 USB-C charging ports, a nice couple of little cuppies there with non-slip rubber matting at the bottom. But what I do like is, for the passenger, on the passenger side in the rear here, you do have access to electric seat buttons for this front passenger seat. So even if you are a little bit cramped behind the passenger there, you can actually adjust the seat to where's comfortable for you. I like that. Continuation of the metallic look, but as I mentioned up front, hard materials, and you can feel the quality. Main touch points, such as where you'd rest your arm on the door, is actually nice and soft and a nice material used. Similar to its petrol-powered counterpart, the Torres EVX serves as a representation of KGM's strategy to erase the negative aspects of SsangYong's reputation from public memory. The interior features a modern yet sleek design. It's a significant change from the bland and unwelcoming interiors of older SsangYong models. This use of copper trim and similar copper stitching, soft touch materials. The use of this copper trim and soft touch materials on touch points, along with a variety of upscale materials and copper coloured stitching for the upholstery, adds to the overall appeal of the interior. However, the quality of the materials falls short though upon closer inspection. With a hollow and tinny sound when tapping on certain surfaces. Now, with this thin rimmed steering wheel and firm seat base, a lot have claimed that the KGM Torres is uncomfortable. I haven't found that. It's not the most comfortable cabin where I've been, but I wouldn't say it gives off the most comfortable driving experience. But with an 8-way adjustable electric driver's seat and front passenger seat, a really comfortable driving position can be had, where you get a really good commanding view of the road ahead, which you'd expect in a large SUV. Also, with height and reach adjustment on the steering wheel, it's not, I wouldn't say it is as uncomfortable as people claim, because you can get a very nice seating position. As in my road trip video, I obviously drove a round trip of 150 miles on a mix of roads, of A roads and dual carriageways, B roads, and I found it very pleasant. I didn't get out with a numb bum or an achy back, and also quite nicely refreshed, which is also a good thing. Now, as for this switchgear for the transmission, it doesn't exude a premium that's expected from a £45,000 plus vehicle. I mean, yes, this KGM Torres EVX model is upwards of £40,000, which with that pricing point it puts it up against some really strong competition. Despite these drawbacks though with the interior, the digital panel on the dashboard offers a visually impressive infotainment touchscreen and driver display, which is comparable to those found in other cars within its price range. While the system may be slow to respond, and somewhat overwhelming with its menu layout, it still meets the basic requirements and features a user-friendly interface compared to some of its competitors, as well as annoyingly housing the climate control and media controls too. But with this handy swipe shortcut, it is manageable to safely adjust on the move, with sat-nav also available in the K40, DAB radio. You do have wired Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which is, I find, a lot better system to use than the manufacturers, so I always use Android Auto. But plenty of storage. You've got a little cubby down here with 2 USB charging ports. We have a 12-volt socket. We have this handy little shelf underneath here, underneath your floating centre console, which is very, very sturdy. 2 cup holders, which easily absorbs a drink. Other drinks are available. Large door bins with 2 positions for a drink, which also take a large bottle. Large storage cubby. You do have a decent size, full size glove box. The interior here, yes, it's flawed and maybe not up to par with some of its European rivals, but still it is a very pleasant place to be. And with the tech involved, along with all the driver assistance systems, which I'll put up on the screen now, which all seem to be very mainstream really at the minute with cars available on the market. In terms of the driving, we do have these flappy paddles at the rear, which adjust the levels of your regenerative braking, and on the steering wheel we do have the handy controls, all your media and phone on the left hand side, and then on the right here for accessing through the driver's display menu, and also for your adaptive cruise control and lane keeping adjustments. But in regard to the interior and comfort, it is very, very nice. It's comfortable. Yes, it has its flaws and it's not up there with some of its European rivals, but for the price point and what you get, I think it's still very, very good, and it's super practical. So in terms of performance of the KGM Torres EVX, KGM have partnered with BYD with the front mounted electric motor and their blade battery. It's a 74.3 kilowatt hour battery. It produces in the KGM Torres EVX 204 brake horsepower and 380 newton meters of torque. So the Torres is actually quite good for towing. A similar setup from BYD can be found in the Seal and the Atto 3, which they have proven to be very, very good. And unlike other electric vehicles currently available on the market, they actually are true to their claim of their range, which the KGM Torres with this setup is claiming 287 miles of range. So you know, with BYD's confidence and their history already with this setup, you know that the Torres EVX is going to get close to its 287 mile range when in daily use. The maximum charging speed of the KGM Torres EVX is claimed to be 145 kilowatts, which is really comparable to its competitors. It's up there with the likes of the Skoda Enyaq and the Volkswagen ID4. The Torres EVX also highlights the resilience of the BYD Blade LFP battery chemistry, which can withstand repeated fast charges better than others found in its rivals, which gives you that confidence and peace of mind. But KGM also offer a 10 years, or I think it's a 10 million kilometre, or yeah, 10 million kilometres warranty on the Blade battery setup found in the Torres. In terms of performance though, the EVX cannot match the Enyaq and the Ioniq 5 with only 204 brake horsepower and a 0 to 62 time of 8.1 seconds. It's not flattering, but for an everyday large family SUV that has the practicality that the Torres EVX has, I actually find it up there with them. You don't need that full all-out electric performance like you get in some of its rivals. For daily use it is absolutely fantastic. However, the power delivery, even though it is smooth and it's predictable, with just as long as you're careful with your throttle inputs, I have found that if you obviously plant your foot coming out of a junction or into a roundabout, it just spins up the wheels. Even in eco mode, it spins them up. In sport mode, it is absolutely comical, and it has been a bit of a hoot. So I do apologise to KGM, because I have been enjoying that instant power delivery that you get with electric vehicles. But now I've actually happened to try the Torres EVX's petrol-powered sibling, the Torres ICE. If you'd like to check out my review of that, click this little link up here in the top right hand corner. But as for the ICE Torres, I expected similar from this EVX. I found the suspension to be quite stiff and quite harsh, especially over a lot of the bumpy pothole ridden roads that we have here in the UK. Dampened its appeal as a competent everyday all-rounder, I think, compared to its petrol-powered rivals and certainly its hybrid rivals. Happily though, it seems that the extra weight that comes with the Torres EVX, thanks to its electric motor mounted up the front and the blade battery, it's aided to the suspension in a way. It's not as stiff, it feels more comfortable, it feels more planted, it's not as harsh. Yes, you push it a little bit on these windy roads and you do get a little bit of roll and a little bit of lean, but to be fair, that is to be expected in such a large car. I mean, you're not going to get in a large SUV and think, oh man, this handles like a Porsche or a Ferrari. You're going to get some lean, you're going to get some roll. I found it quieter too. The wind noise, it seems to be reduced. It seems to be more well insulated here in the EVX Torres than the petrol. You get a lot of engine roar because it is quite a noisy engine, especially once you get it higher up the rev range. Whereas here you do not have that drone of a petrol engine, obviously because it's an electric motor. But the wind noise is dampened more. The tyre noise is lessened. There is a lot more lean and wallowing in this EVX compared to the petrol Torres, but I think that's just added with its extra weight, but it still copes with the roads very, very well. But even that wallowing aside, it seems more planted and way more, what's the word, feels way more composed, especially on a straight road, than the ICE Torres. I mean, as for cornering, even though it is a bit bland through the steering and it is very nice and light, which is super handy for obviously daily use around town. I mean, so let me find somewhere to stop and I'll just run through a little bit of a verdict and my thoughts to conclude this review of the KGM Torres EVX. There was a time when the typical family crossover buyer would have hesitated to choose a lesser known budget-esque option. The popular choices were the likes of the Qashqai from Nissan, Toyota's RAV4, the Volkswagen Tiguan. In the past, the Torres would have struggled to compete, and even in today's more diverse SUV market, the petrol version of this rugged crossover may not make much of an impact until something is addressed with its powertrain. As I mentioned in the Torres ICE review, it's screaming out for a hybrid powertrain. However, with the growing variety of electric crossovers, with new models coming over from China, Vietnam and the US, it means the EVX Torres could have a better chance. Electric vehicle buyers are open to considering new brands, so if KGM can successfully position itself as a new player rather than just a revamped SsangYong, why couldn't the electric Torres EVX compete with the likes of the Fisker Ocean or a Moda 5 or the JQ7? It offers ample carrying capacity, interior space and equipment, and even if it lacks in dynamic performance, its range and charging capabilities should meet the needs of its target market. So thank you very much for watching my review of the KGM Torres EVX. I hope you found this review helpful. Please do give this video a like, subscribe to the channel for more car reviews and car content from me. Comment below your thoughts of this Korean EV that is challenging popular well-known competitors, and if you would consider the Torres EVX. I think you'd be daft not to give it a look and even take it out for a test drive. You should have this on your shortlist of electric vehicles that you're currently looking to buy. Again, thank you for watching, and I shall see you next time. See there.